Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarvagurubhyo Namaha. So we're continuing on with our discussion of Mumuksupadi by Pilalokacharya with a commentary by Manavalama Munigal. And we got up to the end of Sutra 94, which explains, we explained in the Tirumantra Prakaranam, the part about the Tirumantra, we first of all explained the meaning of Om in detail. And then we explained the meaning of Namaha or Namo in Om Namo Narayanaya, the Astakshara mantra, which is also called the Tirumantra. So now we come to the meaning of Narayanaya, the last word in the three words that make up the 8 syllables of Tirumantra. So the idea is that we, after understanding the meaning of Namaha, we can really understand the meaning of Narayana. Whereas in the Omkara, we saw that the letter A means Lord Narayana, Lord Sriman Narayana, and it comes first. But the real understanding of the glories of Sriman Narayana can only come after we surrender to him, after all of our ignorance is dispelled by our understanding of our swarupa, our true nature. So that only comes after surrender. So after understanding the word Namaha, now we can really understand the real meaning of the word Narayanaya. Okay, so let's have a look at the text. So as it says here, thus Manavala Mamuni is saying here, thus he revealed the meaning of the middle word, meaning the meaning of Namo, Namo Narayana, the meaning of Namaha. After this, he presents the meaning of the word Narayana. So we're going to now talk about the meaning of the word Narayana. Now, he's going to, the last word in the Tirumantra is Narayanaya, and it has this fourth or dative case ending, Aya. So first we'll just talk about the root word, Narayana. So text 95, Narayana means the abode or the ayana of Naras. So he's broken up the word Narayana into Nara and Ayana. Nara and Ayana. So Naras and Ayana. So the word Narayana can be construed in two ways: as a Tatpurush compound or as a Bahuvrihi compound. Okay, so things are a little bit technical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what these two types of compounds are. But in Sanskrit is a language which is highly inflected. So the nouns and the verbs have a lot of endings that can be put on them to change the meaning of the root word, either the verbal root or the noun stem. They can have a lot of endings put on them to change the way to alter the meaning, alter the ultimate meaning. So Sanskrit also has the ability to make lots and lots of compounds. So you can take two words and you can two or more words, and you can put them together and you can make compounds, and that also changes the meaning of the words from the way they are given individually. So these are two different ways of understanding Sanskrit compounds. So there are many, many compounds in Sanskrit that can be made in Sanskrit. We have compounds in English. For example, we have television, telephone. So television, our vision is limited, but if we have television, we can see much longer. We can see something which is much further away from us. Telescope, right? We can see something much further away from us. So the word the suffix tele and vision and scope and phone add distance to an ordinary scope or an ordinary vision or an ordinary phone. So that's just an example of a type of compound in English. And there are different types of compounds. German and many, many languages have compounds. in Sanskrit, the compounds are made up of words, and the words, as we saw in the discussion about the Omkara, the words that make up the compound, only the last word in a compound, right, has an inflection or has an ending, right? It has a normal ending like a noun ending or a noun ending, right? Compounds are types of nouns. So the other parts are just in their stem form, in their root or their stem form. Or there also could be what's called an upasarga, which is a certain type of prefix. Anyway, so here we have two ways of understanding the word Narayana. If we think that the word Narayana is a Tat Purusha compound, and what does the word Tat Purusha mean? Tat Purusha means his man. His man. Then it means something. And then if we interpret the word Narayana to be a Bahuvrihi compound, the word Bahuvrihi means a lot of rice, or it means much grain. Okay. So the names of these compounds in Sanskrit, different types of compounds, give us a clue to how to interpret the word, the compound, right? So let's just continue on, and I will read the explanation of Bahuvrihi and Tat Purusha. The name Narayana can be construed in two ways: as a Tat Purusha compound, reading that abode of Naras is Narayana, right? If we think that abode of Naras is Narayana, or as a Bahuvrihi compound, reading the one whose abode is Naras is Narayana, right? So there's a difference in meaning there. Therefore, among these two, he first gives the meaning of a Tat Purusha, right? So now I'm going to explain what these different types of compounds are. Right. So in a Tat Purusha compound, or a determinative compound, right, the latter member is modified by the former member. Okay, so the second word is modified by the first part. So as in the word Tat Purusha. So Tat Purusha meaning his man. A Bahuvrihi or attributive compound. So Tat Purusha is like if we put two words together and one word modified the next word. It was like an adjective to the next word, right? Described the next noun, right? So the abode of Narayana. The abode of Naras, the abode of Naras. That abode of Naras is Narayana. So Narayana is the abode of Naras, right? Naras's abode. So Narayana, Naras's abode. So in a Tat Purusha, we could there are different types of Tat Purusha compounds in Sanskrit. But here we're saying that the abode of Naras, or Naras's abode. So Naras, the word Naras would be in a genitive case, it would be adjectival to abode. Naras, the abode of Naras. So in English we would put an apostrophe s on Naras. Naras's abode. Naras's abode. Here she said the abode of Naras. Okay. But the Naras's abode, like that. So think of the first part of in a Tat Purusha, this particular type of Tat Purusha. Think of the first word as being adjectival or as being possessive of the second word, as having a possessive case or genitive case and possessing the second word. So the abode, ayana, of Naras, Naras's abode. That's what it means. Okay, so a Bahuvrihi, on the other hand, the direct meaning of the word Bahuvrihi, a Bahuvrihi or attributive compound as a whole refers to an entity different from either of its members. So we're not talking about, we're talking about an entity which is different from either the abode or naras, right? Different from both of its members, as the word bahuvri itself literally means much grain or a lot of rice, right? Meaning one who has much grain or a rich person. So when I say, if I use the term in bahuvrihi in Sanskrit, it means a lot of rice, but it doesn't actually, the compound itself is interpreted to mean the person who owns that rice, a person who owns a lot of rice. So here, the second meaning, if we understand Narayana to mean, is to be a bahuvrihi type of compound, what we call a attributive compound, not a determinative compound, right? It means the one, the person, Sriman Narayana, whose abode is Naras, is Narayana. The one whose abode is Naras, the one whose abode, Ayana, is Naras, is Narayana. Therefore, these two, he first gives the meaning of the Tatpurush. So first we're going to discuss what Narayana means, what the word Narayana means, right? If we understand it to be this first type of determinative compound called a Tatpurush, specifically at what's called in Sanskrit a Shasti Tatpurush, because there are different types of Tatpurushas, but the relationship between the first word, Nara, and Ayana is a possessive or genitive form. Genitive in Sanskrit is the Shasti, or the sixth case, right, ending. So therefore it's called a Shasti Tatpurush. Okay, so then what are the things called Naras? What are the things called Naras? To this he says, so first of all, before we go on to Sutra 96, let's have a look at P.B. Anangacharya's commentary on this, and let's see what he says about it. So here, again, Narayana is taken as Ayana for the Naras. Ayana, abode, for the Naras. And we'll explain what Naras means. So the meaning of Narayana term is now being explained. There are two ways to derive the meaning out of Narayana Namaha. Two kinds of samasas or combinations can be used, or compounds can be used to build this term: a Tatpurush samas and a Bahuvrihi samas, or a determinative compound or an attributive compound. Naranam is the plural genitive of naras. Ayanam is so Narayana. So when people break up a compound in Sanskrit, they break it into two parts and then they give the relationship between the two. So remember, I was saying now when we talked about Omkara, we said that the letter A is part of a compound of A, U, and M to be an Omkara. But the letter A, we said, has an inherent fourth case ending, Aya. But we don't see that. It's not Aya or It's A-U-M, and the Ya is dropped. The Aya is dropped. Okay, the Aya is dropped because it's considered to be a compound. So here we have two words, Naras, and we have Ayana. Any ending that was there on Naras is dropped, and it's just added Nara Ayana, Narayana. So here, when you try to explain or interpret or what a compound means in Sanskrit, you have to break the parts of the compound apart, and you have to show the case endings. You have to show the relationships between the different words, and then explain them. So there can be different relationships between them, because obviously we don't see any relationship, because when the first, second, third, everything but the last word has all its endings dropped. So we don't know what the original endings would be. So we have to guess, and we have to interpret. So here, if the person thinks, oh, this is a Tatpurusha compound, this is a determinative compound, so therefore I am going to break it into Naras and Ayana, and I'm going to say Naranam. Naranam means of all Naras, of all human beings or all persons, right? Naranam Ayana, the abode of all sentience, right? Like that is Narayana, right? And that is a Tatpurusha. That's the way to break it apart if it's considered to be a Shasti Tatpurusha or a genitive determinative compound. Okay, so then Naraha Ayanam hopefully we'll get away from too much complex grammar here, and we'll get into the real meaning. So, and then if it's considered to be an attributive compound or a bahuvrihi, right? Then it's broken apart as naraha instead of narana mayanam. It's considered naraha. Naraha is nominative, right? Means plural naras or sentient beings or human beings, persons, right? Naraha ayanam yasya saha. That person who is the abode. That person yasya saha. He who is of is the abode ayanam of all the naras, right? So here is it is the tat purusha samas, or the attributive compound that is used to define the Narayana term, and as such, it is said that Narayana means the ayana, or the abode of all naras, of all sentient beings, right? So going back to let's see what the next sutra says. Okay, so that is just, you can expect in the beginning of each section. Here we're starting the section on the word Narayana, in Om Namo Narayanaya. So we had Om, we had Namo, and we've discussed those, we've explained those parts. Now we're discussing Narayana, and then Narayanaya we'll discuss. So first of all, Narayana. So because we're beginning to discuss Narayana, and it's sort of a new topic today, therefore we start out by defining the word grammatically. So and then we get into the actual meaning of and what it means philosophically. So Sutra 96, Naras, or the entire collection of eternal beings. So remember, we have three tattvas in Vedanta. We have Ishvara, or God. We have the sentient souls, right? The jivatmans, right? Who are there. Some of them are nityas in Vaikuntha. Some of them are baddhas in this material world, right? And some of them are in this material world first of all, and then go to Sri Vaikuntha. Those are called muktas. So we have those three different types of jivatmans, but we have sentient beings. Those sentient beings put all together as a class, or as a tattva, as a principle, is called chit. So we have Ishvara, God, chit, the other sentient beings, and then we have achit. Achit means that which is not sentient. That which is not sentient means the universe, and means of matter. We have this experience of things which are made of dull matter, that it doesn't have any consciousness. Okay, so the word naras here is being explained to mean the entire collection of eternal beings. All jivatmans are eternal. All sentient beings are eternal, right? Right now we feel we're not eternal because we think that we're the body. We're associated with the body and the mind and the ego, and so therefore we think that we are those things, but we are not those things. We are beyond those things, and that's stated very simply in the Gita. The Krishna explains about those things. He says those things which are achit, which are insentient, these things are these 8 material elements. These are my separated elements. These are separated from me, and they're also eternal, but they're insentient. Then above them, aparayam itastvanyam prakritim vidime param, jiva bhuta mahabaho. The jiva, or the living being, or the sentient, is above those things, is different from those things. So here, what he's talking about is the word naras, meaning the entire collection of all eternal beings, like all sentience, all chit, all those of chit principle, all jivatmans, right? Because there's only just God and then jivatmans. God is also sentient, right? But here we're talking about the jivatmans, right? So naras means the entire collection of eternal beings. The word nara, right? As is nara, short a, nara, long a, and naraha, right, is from the root re, meaning to be destroyed. Thus, Ra refers to things which are destroyed, and the word Na, right? So what they're doing is further breaking down the word Nara. So if we further break down these words, here it mentions Nara with all short A's, Nara with the first long A, and Naraha with a long, both long A's and a bisagra at the end. Okay, so these are different forms of the word Nara, right? So if we break Nara into syllables, right, we get Na and we get Ra. So this Re, right, this Re, the Ra means which is destroyed, that which is destroyed. Ra means that which is destroyed. And Na negates that. Na means not destroyed. So Na Ra means not destroyed. So therefore, we understand that the things which are not destroyed, right? Even the material nature, the chit, the achit, the material elements, they get created and destroyed, they get changed all the time, but the souls never get created, never get destroyed. They're eternal. So that's why they're called Nara, right? So Nara indicates the things that are eternal and not destroyed, right? So that's the definition of Nara. The suffix an, which gives a meaning to a group, lengthens the vowel. So the first part of Nara, we understood what the Ra means. It comes from Ri, which means destroyed. Na means not destroyed. But the first part, Na, is understood. If we understand Nara to be a compound, the first part should also be explained, because the first part has an inherent ending. The ending would be the suffix an, which gives the meaning of a group and lengthens the vowel to yield na, nara. So the first part is na, long A, meaning the group of eternal objects. So although the term nara means not destroyed, it refers to the whole group of those which are not destroyed. It means all souls together, not just one soul. So because it is in the plural, naraha, right? So he's saying in the word Narayana, there's different ways of understanding the different parts of the word Narayana. If we break the word Narayana into Nara and Ayana, so if it ends with a short A and begins with a short A and we put them together, that is a sandhi, which means there's a long A. So Narayanaya, right? So the first A is long, the second A is also long, because if we put those two A's together, if both A's are short, they become long. If one A is long at the end of Nara and the second A is short, again, it becomes long A. So in any case, it always becomes long A. So because it's in the plural, Naraha, right? So it's understood to be plural, right? This means a collection of groups. Okay, so first of all, because the first A in Narayana is long, that means that there's a group of them, a group of these souls, right? Because the second A is long, that means there's more than one group. So remember, we just talked about that there are different types of sentience, there are different types of souls. There's those three types. There's the nityas, there's the baddhas, and the muktas. There's the ones who are eternally in Sri Vaikuntham. There's the ones who are in this material world, covered with illusion, right? Ajnana. And there are those who were in this material world and who got out of illusion, who attained moksha, who attained liberation, and who have now gone to Sri Vaikuntham. So really only two types. Those who are there serving eternally, and those who are here who are still in illusion, who are bound souls, right? But the bound souls who go there are considered a third type, they're called muktas, those who have attained liberation after having been bound, after having been illusioned. So there are these three collections, a collection of groups. So we have a group of nityas, we have a group of muktas, and we have a group of nitya samsarans, a group of baddhas, right? We have these three groups. So again, the first long A in Nara, right? It means that is the meaning that there's a group, right? And the second long A tells us there's a collection of groups. So the first one tells us there's a group of jivas. So the nityas are a group of jivas, the muktas are a group of jivas, the baddhas are a group of jivas. The second long A tells us that all those three together, those three groups, are included in the word Nara, in Narayana, right? So it applies not only to the baddhas, it applies also to the nityas, it applies also to the muktas. All those three groups, collection of groups. Thus, Pillai Lokacharya says the entire collection of eternal beings is the meaning of the word Nara. So when we think of the word Nara, we shouldn't just think it refers to bound souls. It doesn't just refer to liberated souls. It doesn't just refer to nitya, eternally liberated souls. It refers to all these three groups. And it refers to all members of all these three groups. Right. So here, eternal refers to the meaning of the word Nara. Eternal. To the word Nara, beings. Refers to the meaning of the word Nara, and group refers to the meaning of the plural form, right? So here eternal refers to the meaning of the word Nara. Yeah, Nara, we already discussed that. Ra means to be destroyed. Na means not, right? So and then beings, right? The beings part of it in the part of the sutra refers to the word Nara with a long A, because it explains the long A in Nara refers to a group, and it refers to a plural form, right? Okay, so let's see what P.B. Anangacharya has to say about text 96. So he actually does text 96 and text 97 together. So first of all, let's go back to the other one and see text 97 before we look at what he says. Okay, so what are the things which are like this? What are the things which are like this? To this he says, these are, 1, his qualities of knowledge, bliss, purity, etc. 2, knowledge and power. 3, affection, affability, etc. 4, the holy figure, his holy form, God's holy form. 5, brilliance, tenderness, etc. 6, divine weapons, right? Divyabhushana. Sorry, divine ornaments. 7, divine weapons, Divya Ayuda. 8, the consorts beginning with the goddess meaning Sri Devi. 9, the eternally free souls, Nityasuris. 10, the parasol, the whisk, parasol meaning an umbrella, and the whisk meaning the chamara, the yak-tail fan, which is meant for keeping flies off important people like kings, right, etc. 11, the chief guardians of the holy gates, meaning the Dwarapalakas like Jaya Vijaya in Vaikuntha, right? 12, the leaders of the retinue of gods, the Ganas. So there are leaders in Sri Vaikuntham, the leaders of the retinue of gods. It could also mean the leaders of the retinue of gods in Swarga, in this material world, right? There also, right? 13, freed souls, muktas. 14, the supreme realm, Paramakasha, means Sri Vaikuntha itself. 15, primordial matter, right? Prakriti. 16, the bound souls. right? 17 time, 18 the evolutes, what evolves from Prakriti, meaning Mahat and all the different elements in order, and the Tanmatras and the Gyanendriyas and Kamendriyas, the knowledge acquiring senses and the senses of action, right? 19, the cosmic eggs. 20, the entities such as gods which are contained in the cosmic eggs. Okay, so all of these things, what are the things which are like this? So what are these things which we're talking about? So here he expands the meaning of what these things are. And he says, he gives an explanation. The Lord's qualities of knowledge, bliss, purity, etc. These are the qualities which define his essential nature. The word etc. means that they're endless. So whenever we get this, so the Lord is also understood to have ananta kalyana gunas, unlimited, auspicious attributes or qualities. So here, those attributes are being explained. Now remember, the basic principle in Vishishta Dvaita is this idea of sharira shariri bhava, that the world and the souls are attributes of the Supreme Lord. They are attributes of the Supreme Lord, just in the same way as we have a body, the body and soul relationship. So the soul has certain attributes. Those attributes are the body, and in the same way, God is like the soul of the universe, and the universe and the living beings are considered to be modes or attributes of God. So the Lord's qualities of knowledge, bliss, purity, etc., these qualities which define his essential nature, right, his swarupa, right? The word etc. means that they're endless, right? So we're going to see etc. here, or every time we see which is Jnanananda, Jnanananda Malatvadi, right? Adi at the end, right? So these are all explained, all these different aspects here. 2, knowledge and power, etc. Knowledge, power, strength, bala, lordliness, aishwarya, valor, virya, splendor, tejas are the 6 attributes which qualify his essential nature as so defined. Number 3, we have affection, affability, etc. Vatsalya, etc. Soshilya. So affection, affability, lordliness, and ownership, swamitva. Accessibility, solabhya, etc. refer to the innumerable special auspicious qualities that derive from the above 6 attributes. So he's going very methodically through the qualities, through the attributes of the Lord. And some of the attributes of the Lord are going to be explained here to be the living beings. But all of these things are his attributes. So whatever isn't exactly the Lord are his attributes, right? His attributes. So first of all, so he explains that first, starting with jnana, and then giving about these different shaktis, these 6 shaktis, right? Jnana, Shakti, Bala, Aishwarya, Virya, and Tejas. And then these other auspicious qualities that come out of those 6 basic ones. So the 6 basic, the definition of Bhagavan given in the scriptures is that he has these different qualities, these 6 basic qualities, and from these 6 basic qualities expand other qualities. Okay. So then continuing on, his holy figure or his form. This is his unique divine auspicious body, which is called Divya Mangala Vigraha. Divya, divine, Mangala, auspicious, Vigraha, form. As it may be singular or plural. It can be singular or plural because he can manifest other forms. Like he can come as different avatars. In Pancharatra, of course, we understand the 5 different forms of God, Karnika, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antayam, and Archa. So he has these ways of having many different forms. He can have unlimited forms. And each one of those forms is a Divya Mangala Vigraha, is a form which is divine and auspicious. As it may be singular or plural, this refers to the eternal divine form and other forms that he takes at will. So according to his Satya Sankalpa, his eternal will, his correct will, his true will, right? He can take different forms. But all of these forms are divine and auspicious. Otherwise, it would not be fit. It would not fit with the context which refers to an entire group. This is made clear in the works written by Natuvil Tiruvidi. Natuvil Tiruvidi. Tiruvidi means a holy street around a temple. Nada means north, so the northern Pillai Bhattar and Achan Pillai. So there was a Bhattar called Pillai. Pillai means son, so he was the son of somebody, but he was a Bhattar. He was probably an archika or a learned priest, right? And he came from the northern street around the temple. And Achan Pillai is another acharya. So there are these different Vaishnava acharyas who have written works, who have made it clear about the Lord's Divya Mangala Vigraha, his eternal divine form. They've spoken about that. So the fifth, so he's given all these different groupings here of auspicious qualities, right? 5, brilliance, tenderness, etc. Right? This means beauty, tenderness, fragrance, loveliness, youth, etc., which are the qualities of that body. So after we talk about the Lord's body, we talk about the qualities of his body. 6, the divine ornaments meaning Kaustuba, Vanamala, or Kirita, Makara Kundala, all these, earrings, crown, garland, these different things. The divine ornaments that are worn on the holy body of God, from the crown to the anklets, starting at the top, going down to the Tirumani or the Tiruvadi. Excuse me. The Tirumani is the whole form. The Tiruvadi is the feet of the Lord, as revealed by Ramanuja. So Ramanuja has revealed this. If you want to know more about the divine ornaments and the form of the Supreme Lord, you can read in Ramanuja's Vaikuntha Gadyam, Sri Vaikuntha Gadyam, which is one of the 3 Gadyams or prose works that Ramanuja wrote. So Ramanuja wrote 9 books, out of which 3 of them are prose works. The others are in sloka form or verse form. And so in those 3 works are Sharanagati Gadya, Sri Ranga Gadya, and Vaikuntha Gadya. Or Vaikuntha Gadya and Sri Ranga Gadya. It depends on the order that you put them in. Anyway, Vaikuntha Gadya is about a description of Sri Vaikuntha and the description of the Supreme Lord in Sri Vaikuntha. So therefore, if you want to know more about this, you can then therefore go and read Sri Vaikuntha Gadya. The divine weapons, the Lord has conch, and he has a chakra, he has a sword, he has a bow, he has a club. These are the 5 main weapons of the Lord, but he can have unlimited weapons. The divine weapons are called Divya Ayuda. So Ayuda means weapons. These are innumerable special weapons, such as the conch, disc, mace, sword, and bow, right, which I just mentioned, which are ornamental as well as useful in destroying obstacles for the devotees, right? Obstacles or killing. In his avatars, he uses them to kill different asuras or demons. The consorts beginning with the goddess. So when we say beginning with the goddess, we're saying Sri Devi, etc. So there are many consorts of the Lord. As it is said in Sharanagati Gadya, Ramanuja explains, right, which is his first prose work, which is about surrender, which is about property and Sharanagati. He says, consort of the beloved Shri, and similarly Bhumi and Nila. So he mentions 3 consorts here. In Vaikuntha, when we go to see in Sri Rangam, if you go to, there's a small shrine in the back of the temple called Vaikunthanatha, Paramapadanatha. It's called Vaikunthanatha or Paramapadanatha. Paramapada means Vaikuntha. So the Nata means the ruler or the Lord of. So when we go in there, we see the Lord and we see him seated with his 3 main consorts. So we have consort of beloved Shri. Shri is mentioned first. Bu is mentioned next, Bhumi Devi. And then Neela Devi is mentioned third. And following you, O goddess, along with Neela, Mahi, meaning Bhuma Devi or Bhumi, right, are 1,000 other goddesses. So this is a quotation from Sri Gunaratna Kosha. Sri Gunaratna Kosha. These are the goddesses. Periya Pirati. Periya Pirati. Periya means great, right? And Pirati means the goddess. So Shri. Periya Pirati Shri, right? Shri Devi, who is the primary queen. Her peers, Bhumi or Bhudevi and Neela, and others who are said to be many, right? Achan Pillai described them as an entire group of queens, Lakshmi, etc. So in Perivachan Pillai's Paranta Rahasya, right, you can find that description explained and commented by this Achan Pillai. Okay, so continuing on, the 9th group here is the eternally free souls. So remember, we're talking about the eternally free souls as being a group, the Nityasuris. This means the innumerable host of Suris, right? Suris are what? Suris are Suras. Suras and Suris are the same thing. So Sura is a godly person, or is a godly being. And Asuri, when we put the letter A in front of something in Sanskrit, it means the opposite to what it means without the A. So Sura is a godly person. Asura is a demoniac person or an ungodly person. So Suras or the Suris, right, including Anantashesha, right, Garuda and Vishvaksena. So Anantashesha, of course, takes many forms in Sri Vaikuntham, but he's he's also called Adi Shesha, the original servant of the Lord, and he forms the bed of the Lord in the form of an Ananta, which is a 5 or 7 headed snake, and the Lord lies down on this when he comes to the material world, and he lies in the ocean of milk, or he lies in different oceans. And Garuda, who is the vehicle of the Lord, who the flapping of whose wings are the Vedic mantras. Garuda is a great eagle that the Lord rides around on. And Vishvaksena. Vishvaksena is called also Senai Mudliya in Tamil, and he is the personal secretary of the Lord and the commander of his army. The word Sena means army, means soldier, and Vishva means the universe. So Vishvaksena means he's the commander in chief of all the Lord's forces. So they're just giving an example of those three Nityasuris. So when we talk about the group of eternally freed souls who are eternally serving Srimad Narayana, we first of all speak about Adishesha or Anantashesha, Garuda and Vishvaksena, etc. So then there's some more groups. We have in Sri Vaikuntha we have the Parasol, the Chamara. Okay, so Adishesha, Anantashesha converts himself into these other things, but they're also to serve the Lord, but it's also possible for these things to be there to serve the Lord. So these are the parasol, the whisk, the fan, the cup, the spittoon, etc. Spittoon. So the Lord has umbrellas, he has whisks to serve him, he has fans to serve him, he has a cup to use, he has a vessel to spit in if he has to spit, which are used in service. This is another group. 11, the chief guardians of the holy gates. Okay, so these are Chanda Prachanda, Bhadra Subhadra, Jaya Vijaya, Bala Prabala, Data Vidata. There are these different names of different security guards at Sri Vaikuntha at the different gates. So normally we think of there being 4 gates, and even in the temples in this world, we have situated at the 4 gates of the temple in the north, south, east, and west. We have these different security guards, and they usually go by these names: Chanda Prachanda, Bhadra Subhadra, Jaya Vijaya. Data Vidata, Bala Prabala. Anyway, they're mentioned in the scriptures, in the Pancharatra scriptures. So continue, the 12th group are the leaders of the retinue of gods, the Ganas, Ganadipar. These are Kumara, Kumaraksha, Pundarika, Vamana, Sankukarna, Sarvanetra, Sumukha, and Supratista. Okay, so these are situated near the gates also, but inside the gates. Whereas the security guards are on the outside, you have attendants which of the Lord that are on the inside of the gates in Vaikuntha. Just like when you go to meet any very powerful person, like a king or a very powerful politician or business person, you go to that person's place, and there are security people on the outside to stop any unauthorized persons from going inside. But then once you go inside, there's another person that greets you, and that takes you to an attendant of the great man will take you to meet the great person, the king or the politician that person is a Gana. So here we have them mentioned here, beginning with Kumara, Kumaraksha, Pundarika, Vamana, Sankukarna, Savanetra, Sumukha, and Supratista. These are these different names, according to which gate in Vaikuntha they reside at. Okay, so 13, freed souls or muktas. Remember, we were talking about different groups of souls. So that there are the souls that were in this material world who were covered and who either surrendered to the Lord or they performed some other path to attain moksha, like bhakti yoga, and they achieved liberation in some way, and they are now in Sri Vaikuntha serving the Lord eternally. So those are called muktas. These are the ones who say, we have reached the shore. We have reached the shore. So this is a line out of Tiruvaimoli by Namalwar, 8.3.10, the 8th centum, the 3rd decade, and the 10th verse of Tiruvaimoli. So we have reached the shore. So when somebody attains Sri Vaikuntha, he can say he reached the other bank, he reached the shore, he reached the other side. He has crossed over the samsara. He's crossed over this material world of repeated birth and death, this cycle of birth and death, and he's attained Sri Vaikuntha, which means that he has the ability to serve the Supreme Lord directly for eternity. So that is the innumerable souls on that shore who, having crossed the ocean of samsara, involved in doing all services for the Lord on par with the eternally freed souls. So once the fallen and covered and bound soul reaches liberation, he becomes on a par with the freed souls, with the Nityasuris, those who are eternally free, and he therefore is also able to serve the Lord personally for eternity. Text 14 here, the 14th group, the supreme realm itself, Sri Vaikuntha, is the thing. So Paramakasha. So Parama means the supreme, and Akasha refers to space or outer space. So it is the supreme realm, the highest heaven, also called Paramapada, the supreme destination, right? Since this is a compound of 5, since this is composed of 5 Upanishads, and here there's going to be a reference to Pancharatric theory, right? Pancharatric doctrine, right? In Paramasamhita. It is in the form of a group. So they consider Paramapada or Sri Vaikuntham as a group. It's not just one thing, but it's a group, right? Because it's made up of these 5 Upanishads, right? Which means we're going to explain it here. So thus there's no problem in counting it here as a group. Achan Pillai says, since it is composed of 5 Upanishads, Paramapada is also considered a group, or Vaikuntha is also considered a group. Here we're talking about all these different groups, which are all considered to come together, right, in the word Nara, right? When the word Nara is plural, Nara, yeah? So all these different groups are made up of different members, but there are different groups. So beyond the three basic groups that we talked about of the living entities, we'd also talk about these different groups. So where does this idea of Paramapada or Sri Vaikuntha come as being made up of these 5 Upanishads? The word Upanishad, normally we understand it means to sit close and to get some secret doctrine from the Guru. So in Parama Samhita 230, the supreme heaven, or Sri Vaikuntha Paramapada, is said to be comprised of 5 powers or 5 Shaktis called Upanishads. Parameshti, Puman, Vishva, Nivritti, and Sarva. So we're not going to go into that right here. That would be too complicated to go into right here. But for those who have studied a little bit about Pancharatra, we know that there are these Panchopanishad mantras. Panchopanishad mantras that are used in Pancharatra for the installation of the deity, for invoking the Supreme Lord. And so that has to do with these Panchopanishads, or these 5 different aspects of Sri Vaikuntha, are understood from the doctrine of Pancharatra. Okay. So, so from the beginning of the Churna, the Churna means the text or the sutra, knowledge, bliss, purity, etc., up to this point, right? He has revealed, 1, the attributes which define his essential nature, 2 and 3, the auspicious attributes which qualify his essential nature, right? 4, the divine auspicious body, which manifests those qualities, the beauty, etc., which are the attributes of that body. On a par with that beauty, the divine ornaments adorning him. And in fact, normally when we talk about the ornaments and the weapons, we say that those are beautified by the Lord himself rather than the other way around. Normally when people wear attributes or they wear weapons and things like that, those are attributes of the person, but those things themselves are beautified by the presence of the Lord who wears them. The divine weapons, which are equivalent to the ornaments, they're also considered ornaments, right? Not that they're always ornamental, but the weapons are actually used. They're not always ornamental, but sometimes we can wear a weapon as an ornament. Sometimes we can wear a weapon because we need to use that weapon. So same thing with the Lord. The 8th group, the consorts who intimately enjoy all these things, so that the beauty, etc., of them all don't go to waste, right? And that is described further in Paranta Rahasya, which is another book. Number 9, the eternally freed souls who render service in their union, right? When they're in Sri Vaikuntha. The parasol, etc., right? So remember we talked about these different things, the whisk and the spittoon and the cup and all these things, which aid their service, right? The guardians of the holy gates who nervously keep watch lest something happen to the holy couple, right? It's interesting that he puts in this term nervously keeps watch. Okay, so I don't know what the security guards in Sri Vaikuntha have to worry about. I don't think anybody can enter there, but somehow or other it says here they nervously keep watch lest something happen to the holy couple. 12, the leaders of the retinue or the ganas of God, always involved in making auspicious blessings, Mangala Shasana. Mangala Shasana also normally means Mangala means auspicious. Mangala Shasana means auspicious praise. That usually at the end of any ritual, there's the gosti or the group of devotees who are there. They chant auspicious prayers for auspicious praise. So this is called Mangala Shasana. Who keep watch over the holy armory also, right? So they also keep watch over the storeroom of the armory is a storeroom of God where he keeps the weapons. I guess Vishvakshena must be the leader of the army must be in charge of that. So 13, the freed souls who, having departed from samsara, render service on the same order with them. 14, the supreme heaven, Paramapada or Sri Vaikuntha, whose atmosphere inspires their service, right? Just by being in Sri Vaikuntha, everybody's inspired to worship the Supreme Lord and perform service to him. Following that, after those 14 things, he reveals all the things in the realm of sport. The realm of sport means the Lila Vibhuti. So first of all, he talked about all the groups in Vaikuntha, in Sri Vaikuntha, as the first section. All the groups and all the members of all the groups in Sri Vaikuntha, and including Sri Vaikuntha itself. Then he's now going to talk about the other part of existence. There are two parts to existence. There's Sri Vaikuntha, which is called Paramapada, which is also called Nitya or eternal Vibhuti. Vibhuti means the attribute of the Lord, the eternal attribute of the Lord, Sri Vaikuntha. And then there's the Lila Vibhuti. Lila means the sport or pastimes. So the place of pastimes. This is the place of pastimes, this material world, right? Following, he reveals all the things of the realm of sport or Lila Vibhuti. So there's Nitya Vibhuti and Lila Vibhuti. We've just talked about Nitya Vibhuti and all its parts, all its groups, all its members of all its groups. Now we're talking about Lila Vibhuti. In the Lila Vibhuti, this is the basic Prakriti, which is Prakriti or material nature, which is a group since it is formed of three basic gunas. So here in this material world, unlike there, we have these different modes of nature. So they're the first things which we have to delineate. So the first things are the three gunas. The three gunas are Sattva guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna, the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. For this too, Achan Pillai has revealed basic Prakriti is a group. So this Achan Pillai, as well as that other Acharya that we were talking about, Nadadu Tiravidi, Pillai Bhattar, right? They have both spoken about these different places, the Nitya Vibhuti or Sri Vaikuntham Paramapadam, and the Lila Vibhuti, which is this material world, right? They have talked about these two places as being groups. So this material nature is also a group. He says, this Achan Pillai says, the basic Prakriti is a group since it's made up of the triad of gunas. It has these three gunas. It has sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic gunas, or qualities, attributes. So it says here in the footnote, literally, so that these ornaments, etc., don't become moonlight shining in the forest. That is, so that their enjoyable qualities are not wasted with no audience. So that was, that was referring to the goddesses, the consorts who intimately enjoy all these things, etc. So not only does the Lord enjoy all these things, these divine weapons and divine ornaments and qualities and everything like that, but the consorts also enjoy those things, and so he's saying so it's not just moonlight shining in the forest. Moonlight shining in the forest, there's nobody there to enjoy it, right? Is the idea. So it's not enjoyable. These enjoyable qualities are not wasted with no audience. Manavala Mamuni is borrowing an image here, right, from Perivachan Pillai's Parantara Rahasya. Paranta Rahasya. So he has Perivachan Pillai, who's another Tengalai author of this book, Paranta Rahasya, who came just before he was contemporary with Pillai Lopacharya, but came just before Manavala Mamuni. So Manavala Mamuni is borrowing this idea of moonlight in the forest from him. So now, continuing on. Again, we were talking about Prakriti now. So we have Prakriti made up of the three gunas. So it's definitely a group because it's made up of things in the three gunas. This is also a quote coming from this Paranta Rahasya by Perivachan Pillai and the commentary on it by Achan Pillai. So, and then 16, the bound souls. So first of all, we talk about the gunas. Then we talk about the souls here in this material world. So that's another group, the bound souls or the Buddha Jivas. Right? These are the souls lying devoid of form within this Prakriti, like gold dust embedded in wax, not useful to the Supreme Lord, right? Not It's not useful to you if you have gold dust, if you have specks of gold and they're embedded in wax. There's no use. You have to get them out from the wax. You have to melt the wax and get the gold out, and then you can use it to make an ornament. You can use it to make something useful, right? You can appreciate it. But just gold dust in wax is the example is given here of the bound souls. The souls are here in this material world. They're not useful to the Supreme Lord. They're his property. They're his servants, but they're not really serving him directly, or everybody serves him indirectly, but they're not that useful to him. They're not useful for his purpose. His purpose in Sri Vaikuntham is different. Okay. So we have those. They're also a group, right? Time is also considered to be a group here. So time, a particular kind of insentient matter, or achit, right, which is also a group because it is divided into different, it's divided up into different things, right? So first of all, we can say there are three basic divisions of time. There's the past, there's the present, and there's the future. Then he also says here there are different parts of time: day, night, right, week, fortnight. You know, there's all these other ideas of how time can be described in the different parts of time, right? So for this too, Achan Pillai has revealed, and this is also coming from his Paranta Rahasya, Achan Pillai's Paranta Rahasya. Time is also a group because of divisions of day, night, etc. are many. Okay, so this is their idea that time is also a group. So thus, up to this point, he has stated the things that are eternal by nature. Following, he states the things that are eternal by continuity. Eternality by nature means the lack of origination or destruction in objects which are real. Eternality by continuity means that even though such things are originated and will be destroyed, their name, form, and characteristics are basically remain the same from the beginning of time. Okay, so what we're talking about here is we have even got material nature, the material elements. The material elements undergo change, right? So we have earth, but the earth changes, the water changes, the fire changes, these different elements. They change, but they undergo change. And even so, in some form they're created, in some form they're destroyed. But the actual term or the principle of earth never changes, right? The principle of water, the principle of fire never changes, the tattva, right? So eternality so there are some things like the souls, which are eternal, and they never had any beginning, they never have any end. They're eternal by nature. And there are other things like prakriti, like the material nature, right? Parts of prakriti, like the evolutes, right, which are created, earth, which seem to be created, right, and seem to be destroyed, right, in this material world. They are transformed in certain ways, but their principles are eternal. Their principles are eternal. So the principle matter changes its form, but in principle, it is eternal. So it's eternal, but its eternality is because of its continuity. It continues. It continues forever. It's always there in some form or another, but not perhaps in the same form. Whereas the soul continues, but it's always in the same form. It never changes. These other things, they're also eternal. The universe is also eternal, but it changes form. Right. So it's eternal by continuity, is what they're saying. So these two different types of eternality here means that even though such things are originated and will be destroyed, this name, form, and characteristics are basically remain the same from the beginning of time. Amongst these are, so these are also different groups. Okay, so the evolutes of Prakriti, Mahat, and going on, all these different elements, material elements, and the Tanmatras and the different indriyas, the different senses, the knowledge acquiring senses and the working senses, etc. The 23 tattvas beginning with Mahat and ending with Earth. Earth is the last one, right? The last one. So because they go from subtle to gross, and gross, the grossest element is Earth. So beginning with Mahat, which is a conglomerate of Prakriti, and evolving according to the Sankhya theory of creation, which is accepted, right, to end up with Earth. So these are a group. Those things are a group, the evolutes of Prakritis. And 19, the cosmic eggs. What does it mean, cosmic eggs? These are the thousands and thousands of cosmic eggs. So each cosmos, each universe in this material world is considered to be like an egg, or is considered to be like a coconut. It's considered to be round, and there are thousands of them. There are millions of them. There are unlimited. When it says thousands, it means unlimited. Just like we have Perialwar. Perialwar blesses the Lord to live thousands of years, and he lived thousands of years, right? It means unlimited, just like we have in the Purusha Shukta, we have the Lord has thousands of heads, Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha. So the word thousands in Sanskrit, when it's used like this, it means unlimited. It doesn't just mean 1,000. Okay, so we're not talking specifically about a particular number. What we're talking about a great number, an unlimited number. The cosmic eggs, these are thousands and thousands of cosmic eggs described as tens of thousands of thousands. Tens of thousands of thousands means unlimited of cosmic eggs. And this is described in this tens of thousands of cosmic eggs is described in the Vishnu Purana 277. So in the footnote, it explains about that, which originate from the evolutes, Mahat, etc. So so what he's doing is he's talking about the material world, and he's taking the material world in order too, in order of creation. He's giving a chronological list of all the groups in the material world. So a chronological list, everything is done in a very chronological way, in a very logical way. So the descriptions here are very logical. So he starts out with the gunas. After the gunas, he talks about the jivas, the Bada jivas. Then he talks about time. After he talks about time, he talks about evolution, the creation, right, of the different elements, right? Then he describes the cosmic eggs which come out of the elements, right? And then he talks about entities such as gods, right, devatas, right, which are contained within the cosmic eggs. So we have in Swarga, we have those beings like Indra and Vayu and Brahma and all these different devatas. These are the gods, men, animals, plants which live in the world egg, right? So this he just finishes it up with this, right? So thus he has revealed the meaning of the word Nara. The meaning of the word Nara. Okay, so now we started off the beginning of this discussion. We started off saying that we finished with explaining the Omkara. We finished with understanding the word Namo. Now we're going to talk about the word Narayanaya. We first of all grammatically understood the word Narayanaya to be a compound, different types of compound, and now we've taken up the meaning of the word Nara, which is the first part of the compound of Narayana. So now he's explained Nara, and now he's going to go on to explain Ayana, the second part of the compound of the word Nara, Narayana. The second part is Nara Ayana. So first of all, he explained Nara. Now he's going to explain Ayana. So let's go on and let's just have a look. Let's have a look and see what P.B. Anangacharya says about these two last sutras where Nara has been explained. So once again, the meaning of the sutras 96 and 97, which we just talked about, is what are the Naras? What are the Naras? In other words, explain what are the Naras. This is the question in Sutra 96. The community of those who are there forever. The community of those who are there forever. So all of the other things which are there forever. They are, basically it's an enumeration, first of all, of everything in Sri Vaikuntham, and secondly of everything in this material world. So they are the countless knowledge, joy, and pure dharmas of the Lord, his defined qualities such as knowledge and power, his auspicious qualities such as love for all, simplicity and lordship, his uncommon divine form, right? Divyamangala Vigraha, the many forms that he takes by his wish, such as Sankalpa, right? The qualities of those forms, such as beauty and youth, the many jewels that bedeck those forms, right, and ornaments, right? Those his divine weapons that add to his beauty and destroy his devotees' enemies. His consorts, starting with Sri Devi, right, Bhu and Neela, etc., right? The Nitya Suris, the eternal servants of his, starting with Adishesha, Garuda, and Vishwakshena. The items such as umbrella, fan, and vessels which are used for his service. The guards at the gate of his abode, like Jaya Vijaya. The ganas or Ganadipatis, such as Kumara and Kumaraksha, right? His attendants, right? The muktas who have crossed over the samsaric ocean, so those persons who were bound souls who have now become freed and who were also serving him, right? Sri Vaikuntham itself, the Prakriti, the Prakriti, which is the Leela Vibhuti, the place of sport or pastimes, this material world, right? The Atmas that are trapped in samsara, that is the Bada Jivas, or the eternally bound or ignorant souls and illusion souls in this world, right? Time, the 23 tattvas, right? The 23 tattvas starting from Mahat and coming up to Bhumi, which is Earth, right? Evolving according to the Sankhya theory of evolution and creation. The universe meaning the different Brahmandas, the word Brahma means spiritual, but Anda means egg. The word Anda in Sanskrit means end. So we call the universe a Brahmanda, right? It's a divine egg. It's like an egg shape, or it's like a coconut, like a round shape. The universe, the devas means the devatas, the men, the directions, right? Time is also mentioned there, and different directions within the universe. So all of these different things, these are all also part of this word Naras. They're explained by this word Naras or Naraha or Nara, right? So then his commentary on that is, it was said that the Naras are a community of those that last forever. In listing these things, it appears that some ephemeral things are also being included, right? So how can we say what P.B. Nangacharya is saying here? It seems like that they've also listed things which are not eternal. Like I said, like the universe is not eternal. The universe has a creation, it has a destruction, right? It has a recreation. The different 23 tattvas of Prakriti coming from Mahat and going to Earth, they also have creation. They change. Things change. The earth changes, the water changes, the fire changes, different elements, right? So he says, it seems like there are some things which are ephemeral, which are not lasting. They're not eternal, right? They are not eternal. So how come these have been included in things which are considered to be eternal? Because the original definition of Naras is those things, the entire community of groups of things which are eternal. So why is it said there like that? He says it is not so. The Nitya objects are of two kinds. They are Swarupato Nityam and Pravahato Nityam. So by their Swarupa, the soul is eternal, right? The souls and certain things are eternal. And because of continuity, other things are considered eternal because of continuity. So even though the universe is created and destroyed, the idea of a universe, the principle of a universe is always there, and it will come again to be manifest. It is either manifest or unmanifest, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just exists either manifest or unmanifest way. You understand? So in the above list, everything up to time are Swarupa Nityas. So first of all, they delineate everything which is a Swarupa Nitya, which is essentially eternal. Essentially eternal. It has an essential eternality to it, is never created, never destroyed, and doesn't change, right? The rest are Pravaha Nityas, which have eternality through continuity. Those whose creation never changes are Swarupa Nityas. Those whose creation may be stopped and recreated, like the universe, right? Material universe, but do not lose their name, nature, and characteristics are called pravaha nityas. I think that is clear. Okay, so now let's continue on. Going back to the original text. Now we have spoken, now we've examined the meaning of the word Nara in the word Narayana, in the compound word Narayana. So now we're going to talk about the word Ayana. So Ayana, remember, Nara means what we just talked about. Is totally that. If you should think about Nara meaning all these things, all of those things. Ayana means the abode. Ayana means the abode, means the support or locus, and that's what we're going to locus means the place. Locus is Latin, but it means the place. So the word Ayana means support or locus or ashraya for them. Ashraya means the shelter. Ashraya means shelter. So the shelter of those things, the thing which is protecting those things, the thing which is supporting those things, the thing which is owning those things, right? And that is, of course, the Supreme Lord. Since the word Ayana means support or locus, ashraya, saying that he is their Ayana means he is their support and locus. He is their support and he is their locus. He is their place, right? What does it mean he is their place? Because God is everything. Everything is within him, and therefore he is their place. They are in him. They are in him. He is in them and they are in him, right? So in both ways, he is by being within everything, God supports everything. He supports everything from within. And from without, he is also the place of everything. Everything is within him, right? So if we want to know where any of those things are, Nara, we say they're within God. If we want to know about those things, they're all supported by God. They're all controlled by God. They're all protected by God, right? So he is their support. He is their shelter. He is their locus. He is their place. Yeah. So that is what Ayana means. Ayana means support, locus, shelter, right? That's what it means. So who is the support? Who is the master? Who is the shelter? Who is the protector? Who is the locus of all these things that we just spoke about? Sriman Narayana is that person. The Supreme Lord is that person. That's why he's called Narayana. Okay. So here he presents the meaning of Narayana as a Bahuvrihi compound. Remember we were talking about the attributive compound. Bahuvrihi means a lot of rice. Bahu means a lot. Vrihi means rice. So when we take a compound and we say the compound itself, a lot of rice. If we have a lot of rice, it means not the rice itself, but it means the person who owns the rice, the person who. So here, Narayana, right, is being interpreted as a Bahuvrihi, the person who is the support for Nara, right, is Narayana. The person who is the support, the locus, the shelter, the master, the controller of Naras, of everything that we talked about before. All the groups, all the members of all the groups, of all the places, of all the things, that is Narayana, right? So here is explaining it as a Bahuvrihi Samas. So let's look at or a determinative an attributive compound. Determinative compound. Determinative compound? Attributive compound. Attributive compound, I was correct. Okay, so now let's go back to see what P.B. Angacharya says about Sutra number 98. Sutra number 98, he says, very simple. Ayanam means he is the refuge of these nitya vastus. Vastu means a thing. So the nitya vastu means these eternal things. So everything that was described before as in the group of naras, right, which means everything, right? A nitya vastu, everything is eternal. It's interesting to think everything is eternal in a certain way, right? Okay. He is the refuge. He is the owner. He is the protector. He is the support of everything. He's the locus of everything, the place of everything. So here, here on, the meaning of ayana term is being explained. Ayana stands for ashrayam, or shelter. Therefore, Narayana is the refuge of Naras. So all of these things take refuge in the Supreme Lord. All of these things have to take refuge in the Supreme Lord. He's their owner, he's their support. So, text 99. Or else it may state the one who has them as his locus or support. Or it may state one who has them as his locus or support. If not interpreted as a tat purusha, meaning an determinative compound, right, meaning the support or locus for them, it may be taken as a bahuvrihi, meaning the one who has them as his support or locus. Even if the Lord's qualities, gunas, right? So he has ananta kalyana gunas, remember? Unlimited auspicious qualities are referred to when saying the support or locus for them. When it says the one who has them as a locus or support, a place of support, it must be taken without his qualities. So even if the Lord's qualities are referred to when stating the support or locus for them, right? When it says the one who has them, who has them as a locus or support, right? It must be taken without his qualities. Otherwise, then it is said that those qualities are the things to be pervaded, vyapya. The problems of being their own locus or support and infinite regression or anavasta will ensue. Okay, so there's a problem in logic. There's a problem in logic called infinite regression. So what he's saying here is that even if the Lord's qualities are referred to when stating, if we first of all talk about this, if the first understanding of the word Narayana was as a tat purusha compound or a determinative compound, that Nara, it was Nara's ayana, Nara's the ayana, the abode of all those things that were Naras, the abode of all those things. Nara's abode, right? The abode of Naras. Okay, so the support or locus for them, right? The support or locus, the ayana for all those things, the support or locus for things. If it is taken as a bahuvrihi, which is what we just understood it to be, right? Because we finished talking about it as a tat purusha, so or an determinative compound. We're talking about it as an attributive compound, bahuvrihi, meaning the person who has them as his support or locus, as his place. He is all of those things are attributes, right? He has an ananta kalyana gunas. He has an unlimited divine attributes. Those things, Naras, are all those things, are all his attributes. They're not only his attributes, they're also his locus. He is everything. Everything is within him. Okay, so even if the Lord's qualities are referred to when stating the support or locus for them, right? So when we talk about these things are his qualities, right? When it says the one who has them as a support or locus, when we describe it in the other way, it must be taken without his qualities, right? Otherwise so the Lord is described as everything, right? And within everything are these qualities. He is also understood to be the support of those qualities, right? So he's also the support of those qualities, right? So when we understand that he's everything, when we talk about him being everything, including all these things, then we can't think at the same time that he is also within those things, and is the support or locus for those things. Those things are his locus and his support, right, in one way, and he is theirs in another way, like that. But if we think of both of those things together, we get the problem, which is called anavasta, which is infinite regress. Infinite regress means, okay, so the Lord is everything. All these things that we talked about of Naras, all these groups of things, the Lord encompasses everything. He is everything, right? He pervades everything, right? Here it's talking about problems of pervasion, right? Otherwise, it would be said that those qualities are the things to be pervaded, yapya. The problem of being the problems of being their own support or locus, atmashraya. They cannot be their own support or locus, and infinite regression will ensue. Okay, so he's without and he's within those aspects or those attributes of all these different things, naras, and therefore it will lead to infinite regress, because we will then start to think about those qualities as also having the support of the Lord, or the Lord. We can think about it in two ways, but if we think about both ways in the same thought, then it leads to this logical problem of infinite regress. When the Lord pervades his qualities, he must pervade them as one qualified by attributes. For there is no such thing as something devoid of attributes. Okay, so first of all, this is a discussion which references the theory of Advaita, or the doctrine of Advaita, or the Mayavada doctrine of oneness or monism. Okay, so the idea of monism is that there is a thing called Brahman, which is attributeless. But according to Vishishtadvaita, there is no such thing there's not any such thing which is attributeless. Even if we say, logically, something is attributeless, has no attributes, right? We have then defined it as having the attribute of having no attributes, right? So it's not possible to describe a thing as having no attributes. Now, the Mayavadis, the monists, they get around this problem by saying that the Supreme Brahman is attributeless, is nirguna, what's called nirguna. Now, we use also the word nirguna. The word nirguna, Sri Vaishnavas understand the word nirguna to mean no material qualities, no bad qualities. The Lord is nirguna. He has no bad qualities. He has ananta kalyana gunas. He has unlimited auspicious qualities. He has no bad qualities, right? That is, nirguna means no bad qualities. But the Advaitins, they say nirguna means no qualities whatsoever. It's not possible, we point out, to have no qualities or to have no attributes. Because if you have no attributes, then you can say that thing. If you have a thing with no attributes, then if you say that such a thing can exist, right? Then you say that it is that if you say that such a thing can exist that has no qualities, then you're saying it has the quality of having no qualities. So then it has a quality. So there is no such thing as a thing without qualities like that, or attributes. So the Advaitins try to get around that, and they say, well, you have said that there isn't no such a thing cannot exist, right? So that's the question that you ask. Does such a thing exist or doesn't it exist? And sometimes they say, well, it neither exists nor doesn't exist. It doesn't exist and doesn't also not exist. And they just start getting into word jugglery here. Nonsense. Or they say anivachaniya. They use a term called anivachaniya, and they say it cannot be described by words. They say it does exist. It's just that we can't describe it with our limited mental ideas and words. So we have this idea. We have an idea that there can be an object that has no attributes, no qualities, but we can't really describe it with the words that we have. We can't give you an idea of it because we can't speak it like that. So these are all nonsense ways of getting around the point that Sri Vaishnavas definitely have. You can affirm with logic that there cannot be such a thing that doesn't have any attributes. So here he says again, when the Lord pervades his qualities, the Lord pervades his qualities, right? So the Lord pervades everything. So therefore he also pervades his qualities. He must pervade them as one qualified by attributes, right? You understand? So the Lord himself is pervading the quality, right? The Lord himself has qualities. He is explained. He is determined by his qualities. We describe the Lord as having qualities, right? So he also pervades those qualities, right? So in that case, it will end up that the qualities are being pervaded are the same qualities of that one pervading, and that the qualities of the pervader are the same qualities to be pervaded. You understand? So okay, so the Lord has, we mentioned in the list of Naras, some of those things were qualities of the Lord. He has certain qualities like Virya, Tejas, like because he pervades everything, he also pervades those qualities. When he pervades those qualities, who is he to pervade those qualities? He completely pervades those qualities as his complete form. His complete form includes also qualities. So therefore, the problem would be, logically, if he, with his qualities, pervades his own qualities, then the qualities are pervading the qualities, and the qualities seem to be pervaded by the qualities, which ends up in what we call an infinite regress, logically. Okay? So in that case, it will end up that the qualities are being pervaded, right, by the Lord, right, are the same qualities of the one pervading, right? He's pervading them, but he has those qualities, and he's pervading the qualities, right? Therefore, the problem, prasanga, right, a problem results that these qualities are their own locus or support, right? If the Lord has auspicious qualities, and by his qualities he pervades his own qualities, right? In other words, he has qualities, right? And those qualities are pervaded by him. How are they pervaded by him? They are pervaded by him. Him pervading his qualities is a quality, right? The Lord pervading his qualities is a quality, is a type of quality. So it seems like by his quality, he pervades his qualities. That seems to indicate that the qualities have as a support the qualities, that they are their own support. That cannot be accepted. Okay, so that is where something is its own support cannot be accepted, right? We don't accept that. Nothing is its own support in Vishishta Dvaita. In Ramanuja's system, nothing is its own support, right? The Lord, we just got finished saying that the word Narayana means that the Lord is the support, the locus, the owner, the possessor, the controller of everything. Nothing can be its own support. Nothing can be its own owner. The Lord owns and controls everything. He is the support of everything. So therefore, not even these, if we look at these qualities, and if we think of a certain scenario where the Lord is pervading his qualities, therefore we think that maybe the qualities are the support of themselves, that is wrong. So that is called Atmashraya. Atmashraya means self-support. Atmashraya fault obtains as follows. If the qualified Lord pervades the same qualities within which qualify him, This amounts to saying that the qualities qualify themselves. That is, they are their own locus or support. Put another way, the statement, Vishnu pervades his qualities, would then be a tautology, right? Since Vishnu and his qualities would be logically coextensive, right? So continuing on, in the case, it will end up that the qualities to be pervaded are the same qualities of the one pervading, and that the qualities of the pervader are the same qualities to be pervaded. Therefore, the problem of prasanga, right, results. What we understood this prasanga or this problem, right, is anavasta or infinite regression, right? It's a catch-22, basically, is what we say in English, right? Therefore, the problem prasanga results that these qualities are their own locus and or support, atmashraya, and we discussed that. Moreover, if you maintain that the qualified one, the guni, right, the Lord, right, pervades his own qualities, you have to say that the qualified one pervades his own qualities. Then the qualified one has to pervade those qualities, the qualities, which is the support or locus of him, tarashraya. So, moreover, if you maintain that the qualified one pervades his own qualities, you have to say that the qualified one pervades his own qualities. Then the qualified one has to pervade the qualities which are the locus and support for him, right? So that's the understood, right? Then the qualified one has to pervade the qualities of the one pervading. The qualified one has to pervade the qualities of the one pervading. Therefore, an infinite regression will result. So, a little bit more about this from Paranta Rahasya of Perivachan Pillai, right? He says, the problem of anavasta or infinite regression obtains as follows. If it is argued that the Lord, the locus, the place or support for his qualities, pervades his qualities with his qualities, this amounts to saying that the qualities are the locus or the place for the Lord. Then, which will be the locus for which the Lord, for the quality, then which will be the locus or the place for which the Lord, for the qualities, or the qualities for the Lord, right? So there'll be a misunderstanding here. So somebody will say, what is, which came first, the chicken or the egg, the Lord or the qualities? This will be a problem if we get into infinite regress, right? This Achan Pillai clearly revealed. Commenting on Paranta Rahasya Perivachan Pillai, Achan Pillai has explained about this. He's explained about this. He presents the outcome of these two compounds. So let's have a look and see 99 and see what P.B. Rangacharya has to say about this point. It's a little bit very technical point here. So, other than the Tatpurush Samas or the determinative compound, right, that was shown previously, the word Narayanaya, the term Narayana, can also be understood as a Bahuvrihi Samas or a attributive compound. That is, Ayanam or the abode, right, can be taken as that he dwells in the Naras. He dwells in the Naras. He also dwells in the Naras. So he is pervading, right, all of these other things, these other eternal things. So it is told before that there are two ways of understanding the meaning of Narayana. So through the use of determinative compound and a attributive compound. In the previous sutra, the determinative compound is used to bring out the meaning. In this sutra, the attributive compound is used to bring out the meaning, though the determinative compound through the determinative compound, it is gathered that he is the refuge of all eternal beings. All eternal beings take refuge in him. They are all within him. They all take shelter of him. That's the first understanding with the Tatpurush understanding. In the Bahuvrihi understanding, or the attributive understanding, it can be understood that he dwells within each of these. So these are the two meanings that the word naras is completely explained, and ayana means the abode, but in two different ways. Ayana means the abode, that he is the abode of all these things, right? That all these things are within him, right? And also that he is within them. He is within them. He is the refuge. He is the support. He is in them. And they are within him. So these are the two meanings. So basically it's a complex way of saying how is the Lord the support of all these other things, of everything else? He is a support from within and without. That's a very simple way of putting, but the idea is to get to that point by explaining the word Narayana in two different ways, as two different types of compounds. So continuing on with text 100, what results from these two is the Lord's supremacy and accessibility. So these two different understandings of the Lord. The first understanding of the Lord is that he pervades. He pervades from outside, and he also pervades from inside. Right, everything. So, because he pervades from outside, we can understand his paratva, his supremacy. Because he pervades from inside, we can understand his accessibility, because he's within everything. So, from the two phrases, the support for Naras and the one who has Naras as his support, right? The meaning that results is his supremacy, paratva, in being the support, adara. Support means adara, for all beings other than himself. His paratva for being the support, and his accessibility, in which solabhya, in which the very one who is their support in this way enters into all sentient and insentient beings and resides there, right? He's the support of everything because he's outside everything. He supports everything from outside. He also supports from inside. And when he supports from inside, when he supports from outside, it's understood that he is supreme. He shows his supremacy. When he supports from inside, it shows his solabhya. It shows his accessibility, right? If God is within everything, is within us, that means he's right next to us at every step, at every point. So he's totally accessible to us at all times. So he presents the outcome of these two compounds in yet another way. So first, let's see what Divya Nangacharya has to say about this 100th Sutra. So again, the meaning of the sutra is what is gathered from the meanings of the word Narayana using the two different forms of the compounds, right? The Tatpurusha and Bahuvrihi samasas, right? Which is the terminative or the attributive compounds. The meaning from the Tatpurush samas, or the determinative compound, shows his paratva or his supremacy, his quality of being supreme. While the meaning of the Bahuvrihi samas, which is the attributive compound, shows his solabhya or his accessibility, his quality of being accessible, right? Being within everything. Here, the meaning gathered out of the two compounds is explained. The determinative compound that shows that he is the refuge of all eternal beings, shows his He's the refuge. So they're within him. They're taking refuge of him. They're taking shelter of him. Everything is taking shelter of God. God is everything, and everything is within him, taking shelter of him. Right? That shows how supreme he is. Right? The quality of being superior, being making himself easily accessible, is seen by the fact that he dwells within everything. Right? So everything dwells within him, takes shelter of him, is dependent upon him. By that, he shows his supremacy. He dwells within everything. This shows his accessibility. So in these two ways, he pervades from the outside and the inside. So this is going to be very important. Remember when we were talked originally, I think we were talking about Vyapaka mantras. Vyapaka mantras, there's Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Vishnave. There are these three mantras which are called Vyapaka mantras, or mantras which talk about the pervasiveness of the Lord. So here we're talking about the word Narayana in the Astakshara mantra Om Namo Narayanaya. The other words, Vishnu and Vasudeva, in Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and Om Namo Vishnave, these words mean different things. They don't mean both. Whereas Narayana, the word Narayana means both from pervading from outside and from inside. These other words, Vasudeva and Vishnu, mean pervading from outside, Vasudeva, pervading from inside, Vishnu, but they don't mean both. So that is why the Om Namo Narayana mantra is much more important, because it gives both these understandings of pervading from the outside and pervading from the inside. These three mantras are called Vyapaka mantras because they all deal with the Lord's pervasion. The Lord's pervasion of everything is his quality, which he has and nobody else has. No other person has. No other aspect of him has. Right? That shows his supremacy and his sulabhya, his accessibility, as stated here. Right? So in Pancharatra, we many times they use these other mantras, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya, that talks about him pervading from outside. That shows his supremacy. Vishnu, right? Om Namo Vishnu, that shows his solabhya, his accessibility. But it doesn't show both, right? Only Om Namo Narayanaya shows both these aspects. And that is why the word Narayana has to be explained in both these ways so you understand that it doesn't just mean pervading from the outside or pervading from the inside, but it means both.
It's really getting technical, and then all the Sanskrit terminology and stuff. But it's very technical. Wonderful.
But if you have an overview of what the result is to show that the word Narayana is more important than the word Vasudeva.
Vasudeva or Vishnu.
Yeah. So I have to bring it all back to that because Vasudeva means something, Vishnu means something, but Narayana means both, and therefore it's a much more important mantra as far as Vyapaka mantra is concerned. So that whole thing about infinite regress is it's a little technical, and also that we started with some grammatical understandings or analysis of the compounds.
But it's nice. It's wonderful. It's really good. It really goes so deep, to show how this one mantra, just encompasses absolutely everything. It's amazing. I was meditating on it this morning and trying to remember the Artha Panchakam and all of the different things. And, because you just have to, because you don't keep on going over, but then there's so many meanings. And I think the easiest meaning to understand is simply Sheshatva, Paratantra and Kinkaryam. I find that just the easiest way. But I was just trying to remember again, how Artha Panchakam, Om is the Swaswarupam, and Namo is both the Virodhi as well as the Upaya, and Narayana is the Paraswarupam, and Aya is the Purushartha Swarupam. That's correct, right? Yeah, so it's nice. It's nice to always go over these different ones, different meanings. More for the simple-minded devotees like myself.
Yeah, I just concentrate. I think for me, it's just concentrate on the mo. That's where we have to. If you know the meaning of know the meaning of namaha, then you get the result will be there. The result will be there. That's the point. So all of this explanation of delineation of all the different groups in the that we talked about today in the spiritual world, in the material world, like that. It all comes only after understanding that we are truly his servant, and as you said, sheshatva, the servitorship, and what that actually means, because being like as it was said in the previous parts, to be just like an insentient object and being his property, like that. So the insentient object doesn't have to think about anything else. But if you think, if you can understand that you are the servant and you are completely owned and controlled and supported by the Lord, if you can understand that, that's it. That's enough, like that.
Yeah.
All this other stuff like that. That you will know, you'll completely understand in moksha. But in order to get to moksha, you have to understand that. As Lord Rama says, Tavasmi, I am yours. That's what we have to understand. I am yours.
Which is also just like how we had it in one previous class, that in Namo is also the giving up the I-ness and the minus, the mindness, and why it comes before Narayana is because until that goes, there's no question of approaching the Lord. So it's really, really interesting.
And if you think about it, it's very interesting, because like mostly people who are the Advaitins, sometimes they'll look in the Vedas, they'll look in the Upanishads, and they'll say, oh, in the Upanishads it says to chant Omkara, like that. But the understanding of Omkara, the A comes first, and the U, which means exclusivity and which means servitorship, that comes second, like that. But in the Om Namo Narayana mantra, it comes before Narayana. So that has to come first. For prapanas, for bhaktas, that has to come first. Our understanding of ourselves, right? And our position in relationship to the Lord. And only second, afterwards, can we begin to really understand him, or understand his qualities and things like that. So the problem with the system of just chanting Omkara is if you never get into this self-negation, this giving up of I-ness and minus first, then you have a mistake about your understanding of the Supreme. And you think the soul is supreme, and therefore you end up with Kaivalya Mukti. You end up all alone, enjoying the qualities of the soul, right? And that type of liberation is not wanted by the Vaishnavas, right? So by using the Omkara only, we tend to, if we don't understand it fully, completely, right, then we tend to mistake the A for ourselves, right? Because we haven't given up that I-ness and minus, especially the minus, right? And therefore we end up in Kaivalya with Omkara only.
Yeah, very nice.
But still, I'm not against teaching people Omkara and teaching them the real meaning of Omkara. If you really understand the true meaning of Omkara, then it can be just like the Astakshara mantra. It's in a nutshell. But the big problem comes that if you read the Upanishads, you get the wrong idea about Omkara. You get the wrong idea of Omkara. And when you get the wrong idea of Omkara and you're just chanting Omkara, right, then you'll end up in Kaivalya Mukti. That's where you end up.
But if you have the right understanding of it, you can just simply chant Om, and that's it also. You can attain. Yeah.
You don't have to chant anything. If you understand the meaning of Namaha, or if you understand the meaning of Omkara, you don't even have to chant it. The point is to understand the meaning.
Exactly.
Why? It's like you say something. That's why when I'm reading through this, if I don't understand a part, because I have to admit, we're discussing this. I'm no expert. I have been taught this and I've read this many times, but each time I read it, I get more out of it. But when I find an aspect too difficult, then I try to explain it in different ways and read through it a few different times. And by doing that, hopefully God gives me the knowledge to understand it, but that's the way that we do it. So that's why we chant mantras again and again and again. As we chant, we get more and more realization. Krishna from within the heart is going to give us knowledge and give us more realization of the actual meaning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you very much, Swami. Jai Shriman Narayana.
Jai Shriman Narayana.